Okay, hi everyone. I am creating this video for my students, and as you can see, we've moved on to a new unit. These will be the 3D shapes. So before we had the 2D drawings that were given to us, and we made 3D shapes out of them. For this lesson or for this unit, we have 4 or more drawings that will be given to us, or one drawing with 4 different views. We have our isometric view, our top view, which will be to the left of the isometric view. We have our front view, which will be below our top view. And then we have our right side view, which will be to the right of our front view. And notice that there are going to be some views that have more information than others. And those are the views that we want to start sketching with first, primarily. And so I'm going to make videos for part 1. And you can see that this is in inches. Our material is aluminum 1060. I will make a separate video for part 2. Again, this is in inches, and another way that you can tell that this will be inches is the numbers are typically smaller in inches than the numbers that we usually have for millimeters. And also, you will be given that denotation at the bottom right of your drawing. I will also make a video for part 3. And I believe I already have a video for part 4, but I just need to double check some things, and I will make sure that the mass properties are correct. So some of these I already have videos for, but look out for videos for parts 1, 2, and 3. So for this particular video, I will be making part 1, and here we go. So I already have part 1 here, and just to check, we're going to make sure that we have the correct mass. So this says is 1.403 kilograms. I will start this video by creating a new part, and I will create a new sketch on my front plane. And let's see, there are a number of ways that you can do this. I will start in the center. I have a half circle, and I am going to put the center point for my circle right there at my origin. And my circle says that the dimension is 2.25 inches in diameter. And here I am going to sketch half of my object. And I will put dimensions in for those. And after I put those dimensions in, I will put in some constraints and mirror. So make sure those two are horizontal. Let's see, what do we need? We need a circle here as well. And let's put in some dimensions. So that circle is going to be 0.75. From the top of my rectangle to the bottom, that's going to be 0.315. So on the drawing, it says 3.13, but since we are going to go 3 decimal places beyond our decimal, 3 spaces beyond our decimal, I'm going to make this a little bit more precise, and it should be 3.125. So the reason it says 3.13 on the drawing is because it was rounded. And likewise, this one on the drawing says 0.62. It should be 0.615. There may be some that I won't change, but we'll get to that if that happens. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in dimensions for this. And I want to show something new. So let me go ahead and put in a vertical reference. So normally we would dimension from here to here. And our drawing says that we need to dimension from here to the other side as if this was already mirrored. But we can put that dimension in, and when it's mirrored, it should correct itself. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to dimension from here to here, and then I will move my cursor over to the right and then down. So let's see that in action. And you see that that pipe shows up. So that dimension should be 7.5. And from this is 6. 5 and 3.5. Okay, so this point and this point should be aligned. So I'm going to make those two vertical. And I am missing something, or something looks a little too wide. I will verify. So I have 3.55, 6, and 7.5 looks correct. And I am going to select those. Actually, I'm going to select all of those. And then select that and then mirror. And I am going to connect these 2 points. Everything should be black at this point. And I am going to use my trim tool. I don't need that top part of my circle. And now I am going to, let me bring this in. So I am going to extrude according to what I have here. So we already created the front. And now we are going to extrude according to these dimensions. So not only are we going to extrude, we need to make sure that we put a sketch on this face right here. So I'm going to extrude this part right here, just this back part. It says 0.62, so I'm going to extrude that to 0.615. From here to here, this says 1.88. I'm going to extrude that by 1.875 in addition to that 0.615. Okay, and then when I sketch this, I'm going to put the center point of that circle at 1 inch from this edge, and then I will dimension that circle to 0.75 in diameter. And then when I mirror, these the center points for these two circles will be 4.60 or 4.55. And notice that we have a fillet here, and we talked in class about our tools, the sketch tools versus the boss tools. So I'm going to use the boss tool to sketch that fillet there. And let's see what else I need. And this is just my right side view. So if I looked at this part from the right side, this is what I would see. I would see these lines, and then these would be the hidden lines. Okay, and let's see. Let's go ahead and get started on this sketch. Well, first let me extrude. So I'm going to extrude, I think I just did these two. And maybe that. Mm, I'm not going to do those two. So just those two faces for now. I want to make sure I don't have that line selected. Okay, and extrude to, that's going to be 0.615. Okay, notice that my sketch disappeared. We can just turn that back on. And I want to make sure that I get those three faces. And remember, I am going to extrude 1.875 in addition to that 0.615 that I already had. And this says new, but I want to add, and notice that that's red. This does not want me to do that. So my merge scope, I need to merge with everything that I already have. So I have the 1.875 plus that 0.615. Okay, and I'm going to turn my sketch off. So that's what we want to see. So I can put in my sketch fillets now. And let me go back into the sketch. So you can see that these are our sketch tools. So when I come out of my sketch tools, I have a new set of tools. These are my boss tools. And I misspoke. I said my sketch fillets. I want my boss fillets. So I just need the fillets to be here and here. And my boss fillet will be this tool right here. So notice we have this tool, this part, and then it has a rounded edge right there. Please make sure you are not using a chamfer, which has this part, and then it has a chamfer. Okay, so we want the boss fillet. And I already filleted something before, so it's going to give me that default. My fillet says it should be 0.5 or a half inch. And notice that this is asking for the radius. So usually on our drawings, if we're using a fillet, it will give us that radius. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is make a sketch on those two faces. So I'm only going to choose one and then sketch. I'm going to view normal to sketch plane, zoom to fit, and I want my center point circle. And before I get ahead of myself, let me put in a vertical reference because I want to mirror this. And I can put in some dimensions. So the dimensions for that circle will be 3/4 of an inch. And I want to make sure that my center point is 1 inch from that edge. And I am going to make sure that from center point to center point, that's going to be 4.60. And that's it for that sketch. And we can faintly see our circles, but I want you to select inside the circles, go to isometric view, and we're going to extrude. And this time we're going to do a remove. So usually we've been doing an add or new. So this time we want to remove. And I'm just going to select the default because I know that I have less material than needed. And if I rotate, then you can see that that material has been removed. So I believe that is all that we need at this point. I will confer with my isometric view and everything looks correct. I'm going to right click assign material for part 1 and we want aluminum 1060 and save that. And for this, we have 1.403 kilograms in mass. If I show my dimensions, you will see that everything is black. And this is how I want you to turn this assignment in. Okay? So I have my mass properties, I have my dimensions showing, and my part is in isometric view. That is it for this video. If there are any questions, please let me know.